What's going on, guys? Mr. Jones coming at you once again. Today we're going to work on task 4.4. It's actually a develop understanding task, so the concepts might be a little bit weird at first. That's why we made a Desmos activity for you, because we thought it would be the best way to present the information. So we're going to start off with a little riddle, or I guess a little joke. What's the difference between an alligator and a crocodile? Yes, there's actual differences, but the answer of this riddle is one will see you later, the other after a while. Thought that was pretty cute. All right, let's get right to it. So we're going to start talking about less than or greater than. So I know you guys have seen these symbols before. One looks like this, for example. And if I put a number here, this is saying x is less than 4. Or if I put it the other way, I can say x is greater than 4. Okay, so that's how you read those. This one says x is less than, this says x is greater than. And if you remember, the alligator is eating the bigger value. So it's facing the way to eat whatever one is bigger, because alligators are always so hungry. All right, with that being said, it says for each situation, you're given a mathematical statement and two expressions beneath it. Your job is to decide which of the two expressions is greater, if the expressions are equal, or if the relationship cannot be determined using the statement. Sometimes the best way to solve these types of problems is to replace the variable with a number. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this example. This is the very first example, and so I'm going to kind of give you an example of what they want us to do. All right, so the statement is x equals 8. This is what you know to be true right off the bat. I don't know why I put 6 whenever I'm really supposed to put an 8. So we know x equals 8. And then it says, which is greater, x plus 5 or 3x plus 2? So at the end, we want to put either this symbol or this symbol without the teeth. All right, so how do you figure that out? Well, we already know what x equals, so we're going to go ahead and plug it in. Plug in 8 there, plug in 8 there, and then see which side ends up being bigger. Okay, so go ahead and plug it in. Go ahead and solve both sides. 8 plus 5 is 13. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 2 is 26. So obviously that's bigger, which meant that was bigger, right? So that's literally all this example is saying, is just go ahead and plug it in. Since 26 is bigger than 13, you know that 3x plus 2 is bigger than x plus 5. So far, so good, right? All right, now it's your turn. Okay, so you're going to have to basically solve this one. This is basically just saying, hey, which is greater? But here's our statement. So you can't forget the statement that y is less than x. So the way you're going to test this out, if x minus y is greater or y minus x is greater, is you're going to get to pick your own numbers, okay? Pick any two numbers where y is less than x, okay, where y is less than x. And I'm going to urge you guys today, whenever you're trying this out, to pick positive numbers and pick negative numbers and see if it makes a difference today. Okay, so that's going to be the challenge. So you can choose any numbers you want. My recommendation is that you just choose small numbers. So think of two numbers, and one is bigger than the other. So what if I chose 2? And what if I chose 3? Is 2 less than 3? Yes. So we're going to call y2 and x3 and see which one is bigger. But I want you to test this with a different number. Okay, so if x is 3 and y is 2, if y is 2 and x is 3, which one is bigger? This gives you a 1, this gives you a negative 1, and so obviously this side is bigger. Okay, so that's going to be the answer, but I want you to show me with a different number besides the ones that I chose. All right, next one, it says your turn again. Which is greater, 5 or x? So basically what you want to do is you want to put in 5. So it's basically saying you can solve for x or figure out if putting 5 in there makes this statement true or not. So what I want you guys to do for this one is go ahead and plug in 5. And whenever you do plug in 5, see if this is actually true. And if it isn't true, then determine, okay, does your number need to be bigger or does your number need to be smaller in order for it to be true? And then you'll be able to determine. Because x is some imaginary number, right? X is some value, you don't know what it is. So is x, whatever number is, bigger than 5 or not? All right, so that's that one. And by the way, on all these, you could totally pause the video and you should be solving these Desmos as you go. Right? All right, same thing for number 3. So which one's bigger, x or 2? You're going to do the exact same thing. Plug in 2 and then see if your statement is true or not. And then same thing again here, 1 or x. So for this statement, plug in 1 and see if it's true or not. This one's a little bit different. So what does it mean if I have an equal sign underneath? How is this symbol different than this symbol, right? This is the one that it shows us. This is saying 4x is less than or equal to 0. Okay, the other ones equal didn't count, right? So keep that in mind that if it actually equals, then the statement's not true, right? So what do you have to do to make the adjustment? All right, number 5. The statement is that n is an integer. N is an integer. So this is actually supposed to say, and I'm sure it will be in your Desmos, which is greater, 1 or n, okay? And then I think it gives you negative n and n. That's what it looks like from my end. Yep, n or negative n, which is greater, okay? 1 or n. So you're going to go ahead and test those out. You're going to plug them in there or there and let me know what you choose. An integer is any positive or negative whole number. So negative 6, negative 5, negative 100, 0, or any positive number, 1, 2, 3, all that good stuff. Just no fractions. So plug in a positive number, see what happens. Plug in a negative number and see what happens. Remember, guys, you should always be testing positive and negative numbers to see if it makes a difference. All right, and then this one, you should be able to do it now. It gives you the statement, x is greater than y. So just pick any number where x is greater than y, but also don't forget to choose positive or negatives. Now, the only thing I want you to think about, this says x plus a and y plus a. Okay, you're asking, what do I use for a? It doesn't matter, but a here and a here has to be the same number, but it could be any number you want. Okay, the only stipulation is that the number you choose for x has to be greater than the number you choose for y. All right, if it wants you to possibly use different numbers, then it's going to give you a different variable, such as x and y. But if it wants you to use the same number is represented by the same variable. All right, next one, same type of deal. So make sure you're choosing positives and negatives. All right, this one, the statement says 5 is greater than 4. Okay, well, obviously 5 is greater than 4. So it's saying which is greater, 5x or 4x? Again, you need to pick numbers for x, positive or negative, and let me know which way the sign goes. I know which way, the obvious way it should go, but could it go the other way also? So check positives and negatives. All right, same thing here. Check positives and negatives for x, but it has to be the same number because it's the same variable, right? All right, and then now we have a little bit different. Okay, we have a range of numbers. So my statement says 0 is less than x and x is less than 10. Okay, so basically it's saying x has to fit between these two numbers, but can't equal any of those numbers because this is not less than or equal, it's just less than. So any number between 0 and 10, not including 0 and 10. And then y is any number between 0 and 12, not including 0 or 12. So pick some numbers, see which one is greater, x or y. And then now we have 3 to the n plus 2 power. So this is all an exponent up here. It's saying that that is greater than or equal to 27. So now it's having you test 1, n or 1. So test 1, plug in 1 up there, and then see if the statement is true, or if n is actually a bigger number than 1 to make it true. And then now I just want you to go and just write a couple sentences. Okay, write a couple sentences for this, letting me know 2 things you learned about this lesson. If you plugged in positives and negatives, then you really should have been able to, you should have really been able to maybe figure out some rules, figure out what happened in certain situations. So go ahead and type that here. All right. And now it's asking which is which, alligator or crocodile. So it's just getting back to the fun stuff. And then that's it. And then you'll be at the end. All right, please let us know if you guys have any questions. And that's it. Have a great day.